Healing happens in layers. And if you allow yourself to feel your feelings and just move through the process, you can have awareness around things and then allow your body to naturally work through them spiritually, energetically, and then also physically. And so for the past few months, I had been dealing with some shoulder or arm, whatever weakness, discomfort in my right arm. And it started right around the time that I had to transition one of my pups. She had been sick for a while, and then it just finally became too much. So we had to transition her. And there was a lot of grief and guilt around it. Um, Guilt is definitely one of the flavors of feeling torture that I like to do to myself. So that's something that I deal with a lot. But anyway, so a lot of grief surrounding that. And so this has been bothering me for since January. It's now August. Um, I didn't really allow myself to feel the grief when we first transitioned her. And shortly after that, I had done a house clearing for a very close friend who was dealing with a lot of grief around the loss of a child. And after that, I certainly picked up or took on a lot of feelings physically and spiritually, energetically, whatever you want to call it. And so for the past few months, I've really been trying to allow myself to feel the grief and the guilt around the loss of my dog. And I also supported my body in all the ways like yoga and massage and reflexology and all of those things. And then finally, I've kind of come to a point where I feel like I've felt a lot of the feelings, not that they're all gone, but I just feel like it felt like it was really time to let this go. And I was struggling to do it on my own. So I asked one of my friends, who is a phenomenal Reiki practitioner, to help me because I can do a lot of this stuff on my own. But even as I was laying on the table, actually yesterday, um, the idea of when two or more come together, how much more powerful things can be. So while yes, you can do all of this on your own, sometimes you might need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help. She really helped to hold the space for me to really go down deep into what I needed to understand or experience or whatever to release it. So anyway, I had asked her to help me and give me a Reiki session. And so for the few days leading up to it, I had been continuing to feel a lot of what felt like mourning of my dog, mourning of the life that I used to have, mourning of the person that I used to be. And while I'm very happy with my life now and who I am, there are parts of me that I do miss. There are parts of my life that I do miss. And it's like you have to allow yourself to live in the paradox of I'm very happy now and I miss this. And that paradox exists in so many ways. So, whatever you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it. Like you can feel love for someone and you can also feel anger at them for whatever. So just know that you it's yes and yes. Always yes and yes. You can feel this and yes, you can feel that. Anyway, so I had been feeling a lot of mourning coming up and I just allowed myself to sit with it. I think one of the days I literally cried all day long. I was like on the edge of tears all day. And then comes the morning of this Reiki session. And so I'm watching Narnia, The Prince of Caspian, because that's what I felt like doing. And this scene came on where all the Narnians like storm the castle and then they get trapped in the courtyard or whatever, and the gate is closing. And I start bawling, like crying from my soul. And I didn't even understand why. And I just allowed it to happen because what else am I going to do? And I allowed it to continue. I felt better. It was shortly after that that I had to leave to go to my friend's house. So I lay down to do the Reiki And everything is good and seemingly like a normal Reiki session. um, and then at one point, I feel what feels like a pin going from the front of my shoulder to the back. And I told my friend, I'm supposed to let you know that there's a pin here. And so she starts working on it. And then all of a sudden, I felt inclined to call in Jesus to help remove the pin. Jesus is always available for help, healing, love. Doesn't matter your religion or creed or color or whatever. Jesus is always readily available to come and help you with whatever you need. I don't normally call in Jesus, but I felt inclined to call him in that moment. When he came in, he lifted out, and it wasn't a pin. What I was seeing in my mind's eye was he pulled out this gigantic sword, and it was covered in black, like gook and blood. And he pulled it out, and it hovered right above my shoulder. Like it felt like it could have went back in at any moment. And what I realized was it started to make me think about that Narnia scene. And then it started to make me think about my dog and everything. And it felt like lifetimes of grief that I had been carrying in this arm being taken away. And then after he took it out, like white light filled the space, and the sword disappeared. And I immediately, like instantaneously, felt better, lighter, more like, okay, like let's go. Like I got this. And I just found it to be so interesting that, like, throughout the days leading up to the session, the feelings had really started to come up. And even that morning, that 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 scene in the movie really sparked something. And it just felt, like I said, that these past life memories start to come in. And so I encourage you, when you have those kinds of things, just trust them and allow them to really like unfold, whether it's over a day, a week, a month. The signs are all there, and they're there for you to pick up on. And one last thing that I found to be super interesting about that experience was later, when I was telling Nathan about it, he pointed out to me, he's like, that Narnia, or C.S. Lewis, the author, was depicting Jesus or God in Aslan the lion. And so he found it really interesting that I felt the urge to call in Jesus as one of my guides to help me with that healing when he's not someone that I normally call in. So, all that to say, these things unfold in layers. Had I not allowed myself to feel the feelings that were stirring up within me over those few days, I might not have been ready to release that sword or that pin. um, and trust yourself. Trust that when you get these visions and these images, that things are shifting on the energetic level. And sometimes it may take a minute for it to kind of trickle down into the physical. But I certainly feel better. My arm feels better. I can't say whether it's fully gone, whether it will return. I do believe that particular energy has been removed. And I look forward to seeing how that will change my physical experience. And that's what I always encourage clients to do, right? Maybe not, if you can't take the leap of like, it's totally gone, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but just know that something has shifted. Something within you, something within your experience, something outside of yourself. Like, something has shifted after a session. And again, yes, you can do all of these things on your own, but having two people come together is really, I find, to be beneficial a lot of the times. A lot of the times I guide myself through hypnosis, and a lot of the times I need someone to help hold space for me. So definitely, feel free to reach out if you are interested in having a session like this for yourself. And remember, you are supported. You are supported energetically. You are supported physically. If you don't feel it, I encourage you to go within yourself, because your higher self is always available to you. And I've actually created a higher self activation that you can find in the description box down below that helps you connect with the energy of your higher self that is already there. It's nothing outside of you, it's nothing you have to find. It's something you have to, not have to, something you can cultivate from within. So check that out in the description box down below. Let me know if you've had any of these kinds of wild type of experiences during a healing or a meditation, and honor them. Honor yourself and honor your experience.